Hi everyone, my name is Ru Wikmann and I'm a CEO and co-founder of BeeSage, and we're focused on data-driven beekeeping for productivity and sustainability. How do we do it? We do it through our own proprietary hardware and software. So we're a startup, we are an early stage startup, um, um, that's really focused on technology and innovations, and particularly in the field of beekeeping and pollination. So I'll tell you a bit about how it all started. So the funny thing is that BeeSage actually started as complete serendipity. So I was attending this hackathon as um, very much a green developer because I had a different career previously, but beginning of 2020, um, I returned back to Latvia. I lived in UK for a long time. Most of my adult life I lived there, although I was born in Latvia. But yeah, I decided to return to study computer science. And parallel to that, also I participate in this hackathon. Maybe some of you don't know what a hackathon is. So it's kind of similar to the word marathon, but hackathon, basically about hacking. So doing things with technology, making things work and solving problems. So in reality is an opportunity for creative people to meet technical people. So I was just testing out my skills there as a green developer, and I managed to find my co-founder, who's a very experienced electronics engineer. And I came there without any like ideas about any specific things that I want to build. I was like completely open to whatever happens, whatever I can be useful. And my co-founder, his dad is a hobby beekeeper. And one winter they had discovered this issue with all the bees have died. There's no like nobody knows what happened because it's not next to the house. And there's a mouse in the beehive, and basically he just wanted to like help his dad figure out what happened. And also we had this idea that IoT technology, Internet of Things, connected sensors could really be used for these type of issues. So I wanted to build something during a hackathon. I also resonated with that. There's also they had beehives on the roof of that building where the hackathon was taking place. So they were also encouraging to do something for the bees. So we went for it and we managed to build something that worked. We presented it in 36 hours. We managed to build the first prototype of our beehive monitoring system. And we won both prizes, the one from the jury and the one from the audience. So because everybody really appreciated what we did, and it just seemed such a really interesting field to dive into and problems to solve, then we just went ahead and just charged ahead, really went full time straight away. Because my co-founder was 1 foot out of his job already, and myself, I was not looking for a job. I was thinking of studying first, but really, it was more about entrepreneurship in the long term. I knew that I just need to get the technical skills, but then, of course, I had to choose between the startup and the studies, and I chose the startup because it takes full commitment. So what we have is a modular beehive monitoring system that's helping beekeepers and pollinator-dependent farmers increase yield and mitigate risks. So we are on a mission to enable bees sharing knowledge with humans through real-time data, while also advancing environmental protection. Like this webinar is called "Save the Pollinators." Actually, I wrote a blog post a few months ago. Bees don't need to be saved; they need to be understood, and that's truly what I mean, what I believe in. That to save the bees, of course, yes, it sounds nice and it resonates with people with their emotional side, but in reality, the much more rational approach is to understand them first, because we must realize how little we know about them. And the only way to do that really is through data. Hence our vision statement. We envision a world where crop farming is thriving while moving away from industrial methods. And honeybees, as the most productive pollinators, are a source of data, which may be crucial for achieving this goal. And we're not only about the honeybees, although that's where we're starting, because they can be managed, so they're easier to monitor. But we're also diving into other aspects of biodiversity of wild bees and stuff like that. Um, so let me just go forward. So here is a bit about what we have at the moment. So the first device that we launched, actually, this is different from what we built at the hackathon. Mm, but we decided to launch this first because once I joined the Beekeepers Association, I started a course, I became qualified as a beekeeper myself, and speaking to our potential customers, I realized they're really interested in weight data because that seems to be most practical for them. And that's why we decided to launch the scales first. So our smart beehive scales, every hour, they measure weight, temperature, and GPS to enable beekeepers to take advantage of peak blooming periods, to get notified when to take certain actions, like, for example, when to expand the beehive, as in to add an extra honey super on time to catch the peak nectar flow. So that's what we launched first. And this device, it's already it's commercially available. It's improved multiple times. We went from prototype to design for manufacturing and assembly. So now this is production level product that we actually have on our web shop. So you can see it for yourself on our website. And this is just the first component of our system. It acts as a gateway, literally. So every device connected device needs a gateway. It can be a gateway itself, right? Which sends the data to the cloud through cellular technologies, cellular networks. And that's the way we also design our system. So the scales, they act as a gateway, and that's the first standalone product that we launched. But this will expand as we build the other components of the system. I actually have the Hive node in my pocket, so I can show it here as well. But as you can see, this little device here, that's something that we have in testing at the moment and development, but it's getting closer to production. And this goes inside the beehive in between the frames, right? And it measures in-hive temperature, in-hive humidity, and also sound. And the sound, that's where it gets really interesting, but also it takes much more time and development in regards to building those algorithms, understanding what it all means. And we already come quite a way in this process, so we will be able to launch it in production pretty soon. And yeah, so once again, these are the two devices that we started with. It connects with Bluetooth. We use BLE 5.3, but this is just the start. There's other devices as well that could be connected in the future for extra bits of data. Essentially, it's an opportunity to turn every apiary into a weather station. So we get an environmental data plus our own telemetry data from inside the hive as well. And our business model is pretty simple. We actually started just selling the devices and giving the app for free. But then when we received some investments, we realized that it's not the way to go for the long-term sustainability of the business. So then we added a subscription element to it as well. So now there's a hardware cost of $149 and a subscription of $9.99 per device per month. But also there's a really generous volume discount available. So if there are larger orders, then the price is much lower. And you can see a glimpse of the dashboard. So it works, it's a web app, right? So we will build a full-on mobile app later on. But yeah, so for now it just works responsively on both the computer and the mobile. And also parallel to that, as we are connecting beehives all over the world, we are also building our Hive Map, which is this separate software product that's aimed at beekeeping as beekeepers associations first, but also for other stakeholders in the future. Right, and we had some discussions with the Hague Beekeepers Association, and we are exploring some conversations at the moment with a few other associations, and we're open to discussions in this regard, which basically what it will do, it will add environmental data and Earth observation data as well, and give the bigger picture to these entities, beekeepers associations, to see what's happening in the region and to learn from every season. Because the big issue at the moment is that this knowledge is being lost every single year. They're really bad at actually capturing data, unfortunately. So we want to help them with that. So just a second, I lost my screen. So that's the first aspect of HiveMap for beekeepers associations, but also we are really interested in working with pollinator-dependent farmers because it's been shown how much it can pollination can not only increase yield but also quality and shelf life. So that's very much also what we are focusing on in the future. So just a second. Going to the next one, you can see the team as well. So we've grown from two co-founders who met at the hackathon to 8 members of the team, or 9 actually, is it? Yeah, 9 including our advisor. And we're across 6 countries as well. So we have a good expertise we have a few beekeepers on the team. We have a good expertise in technology, both hardware and software, and also marketing and sales. In regards to the challenges, the main issue has been that it's a very resource-intensive business. So you may have heard the expression that hardware is hard. Well, I tried this type of thing for the first time in my life. My co-founder is the hardware guy, so luckily I don't need to be responsible for that aspect, but still I can see how difficult it is. And yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted. And also hardware plus software is even harder when you try to do both at the same time. But also, of course, it is possible, even if we look at incredible success stories like Tesla, right? And all these type of companies really are a massive inspiration for us. Another challenge, of course, can be the demographics of beekeepers. It's generally an older population, maybe less receptive to new technologies. But that also is an incentive for us to really make sure that the user experience is 10 times better than everything they've seen before, right? And that's really what we're aiming for, and I believe that we're doing pretty well with that in regards to the feedback that we have from customers so far. And you can see a few the testimonials on our website. And also another challenge is the changing landscape of technology, I must say, because everything is moving really, really fast. Even when it comes to the mobile networks, right? For example, we started with LTE-M network, then we realized the coverage is not that good in rural areas, especially, and also we got hit in the face with the semiconductor shortage that you might have heard about. That actually forced us to go back to 2G, and that improved things, but now 2G is phasing out in certain countries. So still, we need to have multiple configurations, right, for multiple geographies and stuff like that, which adds to the complexity. But as a startup, of course, we must adapt and we must overcome, and that's what we're doing. So when it comes to looking back into the future, what I would do differently, I would probably build a bigger team right from the start. I would attract another co-founder or a couple of co-founders right in the beginning, because skin in the game is what really moves the needle. And I would also focus less on private investors, because they really only care about the numbers, and they are straight away kind of they're they don't like the smaller markets, let's say, and they see the beekeeping as a smaller market, but they lack to see often the opportunity in pollination, which actually is a pretty huge market. So it's probably I would focus more on like public funding as well from the beginning, less private investors. Perspectives for the future, geographical expansion, that's our key priority at the moment. We are in 6 countries currently, but planning to be to around 10, 20, 10 to 20, but aim really is 20, but depends on how it goes with the resources by the end of the year. And massive plans about expansion to Africa over the next few months, because we need to balance out the seasonality as well, right? So Southern Hemisphere is really important for us, and we already, for example, have a customer in Argentina. Collaboration with beekeeper associations. So any synergies you'd like to explore, very open to that. And same in regards to pollinator dependent farmers, because that's a field that we only starting to scratch the surface. So yeah, so that's it. I think I'm out of time, and thank you very much for your attention.